Hi guys and welcome back. This is part 2 of the Suzuki VS1400 rebuild. Today I'm going to try and show you how to change the triple tree bearings. I actually started filming this video about a week ago, and it was one of those nights where no matter what I said the words were coming out wrong. I wasn't following the sort of the plan that I have in place with all of my videos, and it was just a mess. The problem with that is that I did get so far with the job. The video footage is horrendous and I wouldn't want to put it all out in its entirety on its own. So I'm going to today go over a few things, try and splice in some of the footage from last week and give you guys a rundown of how to change the bearings in the neck of your Suzuki VS1400. So let's get into it. Okay, so the head race bearings, or the headstock bearings, the triple tree bearings, whatever you want to call them, are these little suckers up here, and they can be such a pain in the ass. The reason they're a pain is because you see this outer race here. This is the original one. These are actually hammered in, and when you replace the bearings, you have to take these old ones out. You really don't want to be putting new bearings into old races. You've got to give it the ability to bed down into the new metal. It's just, they come with the bearings anyway, so you might as well do it. It's just getting these ones out that can be a problem. I haven't actually got any footage of me taking out the old ones, I'm afraid, but there are plenty of resources online. It is a pretty straightforward process, but it just involves a bit of patience. You want to get something that's long enough to go into the neck and sit up against the inner rim of the race and encourage it with a mallet of some sort. But you don't need to be too careful with the old ones, so you just need to be careful of the neck itself on the inside. I like to use a long flat-headed blunt screwdriver, go around the diameter of the race, and it will start to come free. You need to do that on both sides. There are two here. You've got the top one and the bottom one, so make sure you get rid of both of those. Once they have been removed, it's a good idea to clean the inside of the neck. When you're putting the new races in, you want to make sure that they first go in the right way. The tapered edge, the edge that gets smaller, goes into the neck on both sides. So the smaller hole goes in first. Once you've sat it correctly, give it a couple of taps with a mallet just to get it going. And then take the original race and line it up on top of the new bearing, the new race, and then you can use that as a driver because it's exactly the same diameter. You're not going to damage anything. You're going to get even distribution of pressure across the surface. So you want to take your hammer, take your old bearing race, pop it on top of the new one, and you'll feel it seat. Once you feel that sort of hard metal sound coming off of it, and you'll feel it hit the bottom, you know that it's sat correctly. And the process is the same for the underside as well. Now comes the fun bit. So this is what is left of the bearing that was on the triple tree stem here. When I took this triple tree out of the neck, it literally just fell apart. If you've never seen the inside of one of these before, very simple design, plastic case, and then these metal bearings here sit on the internal side like so. Like that, and they fill all of these holes, and then that whole thing sits over this in a race like so. And when I took the triple tree off, it literally all fell apart and everything went everywhere, leaving the race on here. Now this is very common. This race is supposed to be incredibly difficult to remove, but you are supposed to be able to remove it with a little bit of ingenuity. You can get bearing pullers. They're devices that go over the stem and you put pressure on the top, a bit like a corkscrew sort of mechanism, and it clamps onto the race and it pulls the race up. I don't have one of those, and I'm going to assume that some of you don't have those either. So what you would typically do is find yourself a flathead screwdriver, and you would place it in between the yoke and the race, off center. This is the center line. We want to place it around about here. And the reason for that is we don't want the screwdriver to end up going down and hitting the stem. So we would do a few taps here, knock knock, and then we do a few taps on this side. We do a few taps on this side, and then we do a few more taps on this side, and we would work it off of the stem. Now, I've been trying to do that for the past week, ever since I started doing this video. It's been soaked in WD-40, it's been soaked in 3-in-1 oil, it's had a blowtorch attack it, it's had ice attack it, it's had pretty much everything that I can throw at it bar one thing, and that is a Dremel or rotary tool with a cutting disc. I don't really want to cut this race off because, like the previous race in the neck, I really would like to have this in one piece so that I can use it as a driver. When we put the new one on, I can slip this one back over the top of the stem and use it as a driver. So I don't really want to cut this in half, because getting the new bearing race on is going to be incredibly difficult without it. At this point, we really don't have any other choice. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to have to try and cut this in a way that doesn't damage the stem or the yoke. So I think the best way to try and attack this is to, rather than cut it all the way to the stem, is cut it at an angle here and try and do it just enough so that I can get a screwdriver on there and use the screwdriver to do the rest of the breaking or cutting. The problem with this is that if I go too deep, I'm going to start damaging the stem, and then that would have to be replaced. We're in. So that's the first glimmer of hope that I've had on this job, is that the screwdriver has finally got in between, and you can see how it's risen up there, a little gap. So again, you can see where the position of the screwdriver is. Let's see if I can show you that. See how it's not central to the stem, it's off to the side. I'm going to move it now to the other side. You'll be able to see here some perishing on the aluminium, but that's not a problem. We can clear all that up after. There we go. God, I think this was most probably a stock race. It looks like it's been on here forever. And just cutting that bit in the middle, I think will have helped loosen up some of that tension. Slightly bigger screwdriver in there now. Ichiban Moto screwdriver. What do you think? Slowly but surely. Some oil on there. You can actually see it's corroded on the inside. We can see it's corroded, so kind of explains why it was so tricky to get free. So what I've done is I've finished cutting this line here, this one, and I've cut it as close as I can to the stem without going all the way through. This one up here. So now I'm just going to use the screwdriver and try and, you see how I've placed it here, but the screwdriver isn't going to the bottom. Really hoping you guys are going to be able to see this. I'm going to give it a few taps and hopefully that will split it open. And she's free. God, what a pain. Couple of light marks, nothing major though. And this aluminium up here, this can all be rubbed back down, sanded down, and be cleaned up. So, Now that that one is off, let's clean this up. Just going to see if I can get very lightly get rid of this scuff here. Put on a slow setting. Okay, so I've given it a quick once over on the stem to make sure that nothing is protruding. I didn't go heavy on it. I don't want to try and smooth it out completely, as in get rid of the existing knocks that are already there, but just smoothing it out, making sure that there's nothing protruding from the stem. So now that that's done, we can put the new bearing on. Okay guys, so that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos, you can go and check out the playlists on the channel of how we tore the bike down to the bone. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell icon as well. That will notify you the next time I upload. I'm hoping that these videos are going to start coming at you thick and fast, because I want to get this bike rebuilt quickly. So I'm hoping that we'll soon be moving into sort of 3 to 4 video uploads a week for the next sort of 3 to 4 weeks. So make sure you hit that bell icon. Anyway guys, if you do have any questions, leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you. And for now, take care, all the best, and I'll see you soon.